What is going on, guys? It is Infamous Rogue here. Today bringing you a WoW video. I'm gonna do kind of a race class comparison on what I think would be the best for each. So we're gonna start off with the Alliance and go all the way down, yada yada yada. For human, since they have the increased haste, critical strike, mastery, and versatility, bonus reps, and can break out of stuns. This is most likely for a warrior. I wouldn't say much more of the tank warrior. That would be mostly Fury and the other DPS spec. I would also recommend Paladin, because as of right now, a lot of Retribution Paladins running around, so you kind of get that two-handed skill mastery in there. The other good one I would say is the Death Knight, again for the skill mastery. Reputation really doesn't matter much unless you're really just trying to get something for, I guess, an achievement or something. Let's move on to the Dwarf here. The Dwarf may take stone form, increased effect from critical strikes, and resistant to frost damage. Again, tank warrior, tank paladin, both of those are pretty even from the stone form. I would also have to say shaman. Shaman would also go under human, to be honest, because of the two-handed experience that you can get from the shaman. Increased effect from critical strikes, so hunter, of course. Hunter is a pretty good one for that. Let's move on to the night elf. So for the Night Elf, it can fade in the shadows, more difficult to hit, and resistant to nature damage, and faster attacks at night, and increased critical during the day. So right off the bat, I would have to say Hunter and Rogue are going to be the two main class types for this, and of course you also have Demon Hunter. I don't know, I see more people do Demon Hunter DPS for that. More difficult to hit, again, Hunter, Rogue. You could also put Druid under there because of the DPS aspect of the cat form and the balance form. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds with the Druid. The Hunter, it's simple for the Hunter and Rogue. For the Gnome, let's go into this. For the Gnome, may escape from speed altering effects, increase resource pool, arcane damage, and attacks faster. I would say Hunter for the Gnome, also because it's pretty cool if you get up a little higher into it. You can actually start taming some of the mechanical bosses from some of the raids further on. I would also possibly give them Warlock. I feel like that would be a good one to get because they have the increased resource pool. So Warlock, Mage, and Priest for that aspect of the Gnome. We're going to go on to the Draenei here. May heal self or others over time, increase agility, intellect, and strength. So I would do a tank warrior or healing. Yeah, tank warrior. And then for paladin, I would go either tank paladin or healing spec. Only because it can, the paladin aspect increases its may self-heal over time. Priest would also be a good one for that, because again, the healing with it is really, really good. I wouldn't really put Hunter under this class. I would do a Shaman or a Mage under it though. I feel like that would be an awesome one. And or Monk. Monk is kind of like that all around, like any kind of spec or any kind of race, just because it really doesn't have to deal with anything much. So the Worgen, periodically move quickly, critical chance increased, and resistance to nature and shadow damage. I would do a Rogue for that. Hunter, I don't think I would. But definitely Rogue. and druid. So rogue and druid for the worgen is really the best. So as we move on, we're going to go to our neutral, the Pandarian. So they can put enemies to sleep with the touch of their hand. Inner peace, so rested XP, food benefits, and cooking skill increase. So the Pandarian is actually the best warrior for both sides, and I will get to the Horde side and explain that why later. But for the Pandarian, for the Alliance side, it can get the most stats out of its buffs for raids, for dungeons, etc. I would also put this race under Rogue, and I think I would put Monk under this race as well, because Monk is, of course, the next best thing for this, so they can kind of follow up. We're going to move on to the Horde and work our way up from there. Goblin, it's almost like the gnome. So this guy, he can launch rockets at enemies, rocket jump forward, so I feel like that would be the best part. Haste increase, and can periodically summon a bank. So for this class, this race, I would put it under Hunter. Again, you can get the mechanical bosses later on. And I think I would do Rogue for him as well. Definitely Rogue. So now moving on to the Blood Elf, you can restore resources such as mana or energy, may silence nearby opponents, and resistance to arcane damage. So for this, I would honestly choose Priest, Mage, or Warlock because of the resource regen. Moving on to the Troll. Berserk, increase attack speed and casting speed. Regeneration is increased, and reduced duration of movement and parrying effects. So this race, honestly, I would do Hunter, or I would do Rogue for it. You could even get away with Druid, Warrior, of course, for the DPS specs, and you could get away with Shaman with this class. So I personally think those would be the best classes for that, if you do it right and you kind of build. So the Tauren, this comes in play where I said the Pandarian will come better to both sides. So this has increased stamina, resistance to nature, and increased effect from critical strikes. The Pandarian is still technically the best tank because you can get more stamina out of a buff than the Tauren has, because the Tauren only has a 5% increase. But he still ranks in one of the best warriors and one of the best paladin tanks, as well as a druid would be pretty good for him, and a monk. As for the undead, so he may consume corpses to regenerate health and mana, can drain health from enemies, and can remove fear, sleep, and charm. This class is excellent for, I would really say, any class, because it's more so towards the PvP effects that most people play undead. If we're talking about PvE though, I would still use Rogue, Monk, or Warrior or Hunter for it. I wouldn't really use Mage, Warlock, or Priest because you still want to keep that mobility with the undead. Last but not least, we have the Orc. May enrage to increase damage, and damage done by pets is increased, and resistance to stun effects. So, excuse me, I would definitely choose DPS Warrior for this class, or race, my bad, this race, and I would do Hunter, of course, and because it has the enrage to increase damage, I would choose Rogue and Monk as the other ones, because of the DPS enhancement. So you kind of have the best of both worlds, but at the end, this also does decrease healing, which it will not tell you until you kind of finally use it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put that down in the comments below. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you felt as I went too fast, just comment it and I will come back to this and I will redo the whole entire video again. Alright, thank you guys and have a wonderful day.